What do I want to do after graduation? Do I want to go to grad school? Do I want to start working? These are the kinds of things I was asking myself at the beginning of the summer. My name's Gabby, and I'm about to start my junior year at UNCG, and I'm trying to figure out what my goals are for after graduation. One of the options that I've considered is law school, so I decided to interview a practicing attorney from Durham, North Carolina. Figuring out what we're going to do after we graduate is a decision that we're all going to have to make at some point. I wanted to find out what being an attorney and going to law school in today's world is like. I wanted an inside look into that, and I'm here to share what I found out. When I went to interview an attorney at the company that my dad works for, I had 3 main areas of questions for her that I thought would help me get the most information. My questions all fit into the categories of schooling, career progression, and what the day-to-day job being accomplished is. So let's take a look at the first area of questions, which was schooling. The woman I spoke to went to North Carolina Central University for a degree after working for 15 years in the field of marketing. Once she was in school, she realized her marketing skills applied really well to corporate law, and that's what she does now. One of the questions I had for her was the difference between a high-ranking law school and a low-ranking law school. Graduates from higher-ranking law schools have a higher percentage chance of getting hired by prestigious law firms. Those who are graduates from lower-ranking schools are more likely to work at bottom-level firms and in smaller towns, smaller jurisdictions, and smaller states. For example, the woman that I spoke to went to North Carolina Central, which is ranked 80th in the country right now, and she knows people who are practicing attorneys that have second and even third jobs in order to make ends meet. This wouldn't have been a problem for them if they were able to get jobs at these prestigious law firms, which you have to be in the top 15 ranking of schools to do. One of the other things I was curious about was the bar exam. So the exam is taken after completion of the Juris Doctorate, and it allows the person to practice law in the state that the exam is taken in. The bar exam is brutal. It is an 18-hour-long test over the course of 3 days. One section is a 6-hour multiple choice test, and then 2 separate 6-hour sessions of essays. There are some areas where the exam will let you practice law in multiple states. For example, an attorney working for a company that has locations in other states may be able to transfer from location to location and still be able to practice law. Most of the times, that's not the case. If you move, you have to retake the bar for whatever state you're moving to. There's also the LSAT, the Law School Admissions Test, or the Legal SAT. Unlike the SAT, there's no mathematics on this test, and there's a limit to the number of times that you can take it. You can only take it 3 times in a 2-year period. Your scores will be averaged by the school that you're applying for. The lowest LSAT score is a 120, and the highest is a 180. In order to get into the top 15 law schools, you need a score between a 170, 175, or higher. So now that we've talked about the education requirements, I wanted to take a look at the career progression for an attorney. Not all attorneys work at a firm. Some people work for companies, some work for other people. And I think that's a really strong misconception that all attorneys are just sitting in firms. So I wanted to know the difference between firm work and in-house counsel. Working for a firm means that there are more opportunities for raises and for progression. However, you're dealing with clients that come from the firm, and it kind of just becomes hard to specialize in the kind of law that you want to. This is the kind of law that you see in TV shows, where one day the person is a criminal attorney, then they're a civil attorney, then they're a family law attorney, and it's just a mess. In-house counsel are attorneys working for a specific company or a specific person and spend their time performing tasks for the people inside that company and that company alone. Most first-year associates at law firms work around 80 to 100 hours a week in the research section of the legal process. So they're doing the grunt work for the partners of these firms who have the ability to pass off the research paces or the parts of their job that they don't like onto the first-year associates. After learning about the education and how your career might progress, I wanted to find out what her job actually was and what she did day to day. So because she's a corporate attorney, she gets to be one of the in-house counsel members for the company that she works for. This is not always the case, but it's where she's been promoted to. One of her main jobs is to deal with one of the side companies that this company has started and kind of merge it back through contracts. There are times, if the company is in legal trouble, if it's being sued or something like that, then she may get to go to court on behalf of that company to work out a deal. She is also in charge of a team of lower-level attorneys who are just kind of starting at the company and are working to make sure that their training is correct. One of the main parts of every legal field is writing contracts. They're what binds two parties together or allows them to separate on agreed terms. So this woman works with NDA, non-disclosure agreements between clients, as well as agreements dealing with the number of products to be sold and for what price. Basically making sure that when the product release is public, it does exactly what it's supposed to do and it goes as smoothly as possible. There are also other companies involved with the products that she sells, and she's in charge of working with them to make sure they agree on how much work they're doing for each other, how they're going to get paid, and how much information they're going to share. In conclusion, there are a lot of pieces that go into being a successful attorney, from the schooling required to the progression throughout your career and your day-to-day job. It's a pretty grueling process. I personally have more questions to ask other attorneys before making my decision on what I'm doing, but I hope I gave you guys enough information to make a decision for yourself.